just before the end of the year.
We cannot escape the past. Our lives.
So this is a 2023 film, in case you were wondering, one of the films that did actually come out in 2023.
Yes.
2 hours and 43 minutes long.
Truth is vanishing.
So this one's directed by Christopher McQuarrie. In fact, this was the third film of 2023 to actually end on a cliffhanger.
War is coming.
Active FM. Radio has never been better.
What is up?
How are you doing?
This is the movie show.
On Active FM.
I'm Sash.
And my name is Ryan.
And finally, just before the end of the year, we made it. We made it with this film. Yeah, we were just like, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. There we go.
In there.
We got it in there. Yeah. So this is a 2023 film, in case you were wondering, one of the films that did actually come out in 2023.
Yes.
2 hours and 43 minutes long.
Sure. Very long film. I still looked at the time like, wow, look, another 2 hours left.
I think one of the reasons for that was also because it was so action-packed from the get-go that, you know how, like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes we can be like, oh, yeah, there's been like 2 action sequences, we're probably in the final act of the film, and then you look and you're like 40 minutes in and you're like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that's what happened, because it's not like it was boring. Like,
No.
it's not that you were like, you know how sometimes you watch a film and
I remember thinking that, and the next one I was like, oh, 43 minutes left.
Wow, okay, cool. Yeah.
So just know it's very well put together.
Okay. But I had an issue with this film. I have now gone and resolved my issue with this film. Not really, but still. No, actually, no. I still have an issue with this film. You know what? Gonna stand on my conflicting right here. Okay.
I thought you were going to say stand on your conflicting leg. You have an issue.
No. So I went to watch this in cinemas with friends, and I was excited. I did my whole pre-Mission Impossible movie marathon, which actually started in the beginning of 2023. We were driving back from the coast, and I started watching the first Mission Impossible. So I was ready, you know when you're like. And honestly, the way the last Mission Impossible film ended, it ended really, really good. That was Fallout. Yes. The one I loved the most was Rogue Nation. I think that's my favorite Mission Impossible. That's the one where at the end there's the whole IMF court case thing, and Jeremy Renner. It's also the last one Jeremy Renner was in. Why, we don't know. But Alec Baldwin and him are in an interview, and then they ask Jeremy Renner, and he keeps giving the same. I know what I don't know. Go watch the end of that film, but that was a cool film. But then this film came, and I was excited, and I was happy, and we're obviously spoiling alerts. And then Rebecca Ferguson's character Ilsa dies in the beginning, and I was like, because also like it was barely. They didn't even give like, you know how normally a death of like the lead actress is like so emotional.
I think I did kind of expect it.
As in the desert.
Yeah,
the desert.
I don't know.
But then obviously...
I was like...
No, wait. I'm talking about when she died in the desert, which is in inverted commas.
Yes.
Because she didn't actually die in the desert. It was, they faked her death.
Oh, right, yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, and then also like the...
when you saw her like lying there.
Yes. I was like, is she dead? Is she not dead? And then obviously they spoke about the fact that she did die. So I was like, oh. And then obviously she's not dead, because you realize they faked her death. Yay!
Oh, yes.
And then, she died. She actually did die. And when you're waiting for it, you're actually just like, they're going to kill her. They're actually going to kill her. And I don't know if you remember.
That's the one I was saying.
Earlier on in the year, when we did the Jason Bourne series, I had a serious issue with them killing the lead actress. It was from this film. The trauma that I went through from this film, I was just like, really?
That whole sequence leading up to that point where she died.
You just knew.
It was so dramatic.
The moment he said someone's dying tonight, you're like, yep, she's dying tonight.
And he was doing his famous run.
Yes.
He was running a lot. I was like, this is a lot of running. He's still running. He's
but
still
I was
running.
actually mad, and I think at that point I switched off.
Well, they said one of them was gonna die.
No, I was mad, right? I was like, kill Grace. We don't know Grace. She's a new character, we don't need Grace. Kill her.
You know what the difference is, yeah?
What?
Was she in the other?
She was in the previous two.
So she was, right?
3, yeah.
So you were attached to her.
Yes, that's the thing.
I wasn't.
And I'd watched.
I was just like, no.
And by the end of Fallout, so that the team, right, at the end of Fallout, it's obviously Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt, there's Simon Pegg's Benji, and then Luther, and then Rebecca Ferguson's Ilsa. So there's the four of them that have now become like this rogue undercover assassin, well, not assassin, but like incorruptible force, you know, that will save humanity against the yes. And it was perfect. It was perfect. And then they went and killed her. I was just like, if the only thing that they could have done that was worse, the only thing they could have done that was worse,
They both died.
no, was if they killed Benji.
Oh, Benji.
If they kill Benji, you know what? Let me just put it out there. If they kill Benji,
And this is part 1.
I'm just saying, people, you already broke my heart with Ilsa. No, but I was
Okay.
I was actually really upset because I like her. Plus, I love Rebecca Ferguson. I think she is such a good actress. I think she's solid. And recently, I watched a series that she also actually produced, but she also acts in it called Silo. And her acting in there it's completely different to this, and it's completely different to her character in Dune as well, because she's obviously the mom in Dune. So I think I was heart sore that I like the actress. They killed her. I also believe though that they did it because she had scheduling conflicts with maybe like Dune and Silo. I really do.
You what? You can't? Okay. I guess we'll just kill you off then.
Yeah, no. But also, this is like the 4th chick now. 5th, in fact, if you count the chick that we didn't know that got shot in the beginning of this film, way back before the events of 1. He's had like 5 women in his life. Dude, at this point, just stop, you know?
Why are the women even hanging with him?
Yeah.
Stay at home.
Anyway, I've gotten out my rant. That is my problem with this film. However, this film is very difficult to judge at the moment, just simply because it ends on a cliffhanger. So the story isn't actually complete. So you can't even compare it with the previous Mission Impossible films, because those films all ended. There was an end to that story. So you were like, there was resolution.
Yeah.
Whereas with this one, it literally just ends and you're like,
Okay.
hectic.
Right.
Yeah, like... That's
There they leave us hanging again.
In fact, this was the third film of 2023 to actually end on a cliffhanger. The previous 2 being Fast X, which I never watched, so I don't need to, hang off that cliff. That cliff I didn't even come close to.
Throw us a comment on YouTube if you thought it was good or
If
bad.
you thought it was good. And I thought Fast X was the last one. Anyway, maybe it's they're doing the part 1 part. Anyway. And then the other thing that ended in a cliffhanger or on a cliffhanger in 2023 was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So, however, that cliffhanger, I must be honest, was way better than this cliffhanger. Like, if I had to choose between watching that film and the next part 2 of Mission Impossible and part 2 of Spider-Man, I think it's Beyond the Spider-Verse, I would definitely go for Spider-Man, just because that one ended and people were like, what? Like the shock of people in cinema that they just put up a to be continued. You know, in to be continued offends people. Yeah, whereas this one, you knew that it was coming to. So this one's directed by Christopher McQuarrie. He also directed Fallout and Rogue Nation, which I actually enjoy him with Mission Impossible. I think he's a very solid director. Ghost Protocol I also enjoyed, but I can definitely say that Rogue Nation, I loved Rogue Nation, and then Fallout was a very good follow-up from. So and then he also directed Jack Reacher in 2012, so that was obviously his first time working. I wonder actually if, because he worked with Tom Cruise on Jack Reacher, Tom Cruise then, because I'm pretty sure Tom Cruise has a say over who directs the Mission Impossible films, if he didn't pull him after that, because Rogue Nation then came out in 2015, and then he also directed a film in 2000 called The Way of the Gun, but he's also got a lot of writing credits and a lot of producing credits as well. I think he was either a writer or producer on Top Gun Maverick as well. So we like Christopher McQuarrie.
Cool.
We have just found a second director that's got the name Christopher. That's good. Yeah. So I think this film, after watching it a second time and knowing that she dies, knowing, I wasn't now watching from that perspective. I was more watching from like an unemotional perspective. Yeah. And it's actually very good. Like even the start of the film, it's a very solid, strong start to the film. Like you get in like straight away.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever you watch films and like the shots are great and you don't really think about how you could actually see how they did that. Like if you like from a third point of view, how they did the shot. But in this film, like I don't know why the shots. I noticed the shots.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I actually do get what you're saying.
Usually a shot goes unnoticed. This one I was like, oh look how they just shifted that whole shot like that. Or like the one shot I could actually see how the crane came down and almost like touched the ground as the one shot the guys were getting out the car and walking, and then there was the shot where they were racing through
Rome.
Was it Rome?
Yeah, that's the.
And then they're in the police car, and then they get out, and then there's someone on the opposite end that is pointing a gun at them, and then like you could literally feel how the camera person walked back, because at first it showed from their from who they're versing, but you couldn't see their reactions. And then you could literally see how the camera person like came back to see their reaction. So it was almost like a one-shotter kind of thing. And I was like, oh, okay. Why did like usually those shots are unnoticed?
Yeah, you got unnoticed.
But in this one, there were a lot of shots that I was very like, oh look, they just pulled where there's action happening in front of you, but you just noticed how they just did that. Especially like when he was on the motorbike as well. Like there was just a lot of stuff. I was like, oh, I can actually like it. I noticed it.
I do get what you're saying. Yeah. But for me, I like the Mission Impossible films. I think they are solid films. I think my least favorite was the second one. They've been going for a long time. And I like how they've almost kept the old like spy nostalgia to it in a way, even though it's very modern.
And there's some big mission that's coming, so they're kind of filling in the details.
So it's like the same thing, but it's obviously a different storyline. I feel like I can't comment on this film, and I don't want to pass judgment yet. I was very upset with Ilse's death, but other than that, I feel like we have to wait. Either part 2 is going to make this film brilliant, or it's going to be like, oh, that was a really trashy into the Mission Impossible. I think this is the end. I'm not sure, but yeah. So I think we have to wait for that to decide.
Did you find that the music was a bit loud, by any chance?
There were times, yes. I did need subtitles.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that want to hear every word uttered by the actor, because I believe that full stop is going to change the whole story.
Yes, exactly.
So I went and got subtitles, so I did get
because it draws you. And then I don't know if you noticed, the music had a lot of like snare kind of rolls, kind of.
Yes. You know what I loved? The one part was it in the? I think it was in the Abu Dhabi airport. Was the piano that thriller, but like it's an old like almost film noir, like old fashioned.
Yes. Oh yes,
you know, with the very staccato piano, and that I noticed, and I thought that was very cool. But just talking about like, because the first film came out in what year? 19 what? When did the first film come out? But anyway,
1980 something.
Was it seriously the 80s?
Really.
Oh, okay, sure. Hectic. But along with its sequel, which will obviously be part 2 of Dead Reckoning, which comes out in 2025, this is the first Mission Impossible movie, or the first 2 movies, to shoot entirely digitally. So the previous first 6 films were shot on 35 millimeter film.
35.
Yeah, whereas this one is completely digital. And what's cool is they actually say it's ironic, therefore, that the antagonist of this 2-part movie is a digital entity.
Oh.
Do you understand? I don't think that was like the filmmakers were like, guys, the antagonist is not a person, it's digital, so we can't do. I don't think they did that. But I actually think that is pretty cool. That I didn't know though that the previous were shot on film. So yeah. And then Tom Cruise, this is crazy. He was 61 at the time of this film's release. Tom Cruise, yes, I just said that, people. Tom Cruise is over 61. That means, right, that he was 4 years older than John Voight when Mission Impossible 1, which was 1996, was released. John Voight was the villain. That's Angelina Jolie's father, right?
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
But you know I'm talking. So he mentored Ethan, and then he still dies.
Oh, yes.
And then at the end of the film, he comes out and actually is the antagonist. So you know him. Picture his face, right? Do you see his face?
Yeah, I see it.
Tom Cruise was 4 years older than him when this film was released. 4 years older, Ryan.
Oh.
So he was John Voight was 57 when Mission Impossible came out. Tom
Sure.
Cruise is now 4 years older than that. How
Sure.
crazy is that?
Wait, that's
Right?
weird.
Right?
That's
Tom
crazy.
Cruise does look very good for his age, though,
Yeah.
and I think the fact that he's kept up like the stunts and that. Talking about the stunts, so we all knew about the incredible stunt that Tom Cruise was going to perform in this film because they released it. I personally don't know if I like the fact that they released that before. I know they
No.
used it as a marketing technique, but I feel like it took away from it in the film. Because now it was like, oh, okay, yeah, he's going to jump over the cliff with the bike now.
Oh, there you
and
go.
yeah, we saw the ramp. So, because obviously the ramp was
Yeah.
taken out digitally. So I feel like they should have released that after the film. I think they did release it because of marketing. That's my only assumption. But I almost wish they didn't. Or I wish I never saw it because I definitely do think it took away from the actual moment in the film. But anyway, so that footage was released of the stunt, which involved him riding a motorcycle off a cliff and parachuting to a moving train. A year's worth of preparation went into this stunt. Yes, a whole year into one stunt. And how many stunts were in this film? But a whole year into this one stunt. So...
Yep.
With Cruise performing over 500 skydives to learn how to control himself in the air and practicing jumping his motorcycle off a purpose-built practice ramp after clocking up over 13,000 jumps on a motocross track.
That's
When it
crazy.
came to filming, the only CGI used for the scene was to digitally erase the ramp Cruise launched from.
Yeah.
Cruise performed 6 takes of the jump. Pretty insane.
Do you know how you know?
How you know?
Do you know how you know?
How I
Do
know
you know
what?
how you know that Tom Cruise is doing the... Have you noticed whenever he's riding a bike or in midair and stuff like that, the look on his face, you can tell that he's really doing these stuff. And especially like his cheeks, because you can see like the wind pushing against his cheek. And the way that he's shouting, whenever, like...
Yeah, it's true actually.
Like it's so different
Yeah.
from any other
Yeah.
film. Like he's not pulling his face, like he's really like flooring a
yes,
motorbike.
yeah.
He's not driving nicely because he hasn't got that like action hero look.
Yeah.
He's just like he's got that kind of look,
Yeah.
you know, like he's flooring this thing. The wind is in his face, and he's like really just trying to like especially in the car and that. Oh, it was just
Yeah, you can see he's
yeah.
focused and yeah. No, overall the
the
film was
humor.
very good. Yes.
The other Mission Impossible, because
It's always Mission Impossible's
there
always
was
had
some
humor.
kind of it?
Yeah,
Oh,
especially
okay.
with Benji, Luther, and Ethan, those
Oh,
three
right.
characters.
Oh, yes.
For me, I loved it when they were like explaining the stakes of the mission at the airport, and then Benji was like, so in other words, like this could possibly be the end of the world, but
Yeah.
for us, it's just a Tuesday. Like,
Yeah.
like I like that. Yeah, the humor is always very very good. Although I do feel like with this one, it was a lot more serious. You know, like was
Like there's even the part where Benji's driving in the car and he puts on the autopilot. Now usually in an action film they just jump over and it's like really cool. 'Cause-
Yeah.
But you could see he like jumps over and then he like looks and
Yes.
like exactly what the audience is thinking. He's like, oh, wait, I better put on my seatbelt because this car is driving automatically. So
But I feel like Benji is the humor of Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
That's probably why he's my favorite character
Yeah.
as well. So yeah. But now, so this film, obviously, we had all of the COVID pandemic films, and Mission Impossible was actually one of the films that was the
Impacted.
production. It was in production, and they had to stop production. They were in Italy actually at the time. When they had to stop production, and I read somewhere that apparently Tom Cruise eventually got a private like yacht for all of them to isolate on. I'm like, wow, he spent like something crazy. But anyway, so the frequent delays caused by COVID-19 ballooned the budget to 291 million, making it the most expensive Mission Impossible film, surpassing Fallout's cost 178 million. Also, it is the most expensive film of Tom Cruise's career.
and did you see how much they made back? Eh?
we're getting there. Wait.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
the most expensive film ever produced by Paramount, surpassing Transformers: The Last Knights, which was 217 million. The insurance company Chubb originally gave Paramount only 4.4 million euro. About $5.4 million for the delays, arguing that the cast and crew could still fulfill their duties to the production despite being infected with COVID-19. Paramount sued Chubb in 2021, and the two companies settled in 2022. In 2023, Chubb gave Paramount a 57 million euro or 71. Actually, is that pound? But basically, they gave them $71 million payouts for the COVID-caused delays, reducing the film's budget to about 220 million, which still makes it the most expensive film for Cruise, Paramount, and for the franchise.
And that's just another day at the office.
There we go.
So while they're out filming, the guys in the office are, we're going to sue that. I will sue you. You know, it's that kind of like anger in the office. Or do you think it was handled like, oh, we should sue them?
No, I feel like, yeah, this is hectic, man.
There's a lawsuit. Oh, okay. Send it off to the lawsuit
I
department.
also read that there were 2 occasions where Tom Cruise like flipped on set
That's right.
with cast and crew.
Yeah.
But having read this, I kind of understand now why he flipped. So basically, they weren't sticking to COVID regulations.
Yes.
And based on this, I'm like, okay, he might have been like, guys, we need to not get COVID so that we can actually finish this film,
Yeah.
because Chubb is, and Paramount and apparently George Clooney even, because one of the incidents like got out into the press, and George Clooney apparently came and was like, he was backing up.
There were a
Tom
lot of
Cruise.
people that actually backed him in
Yeah.
that. A lot of people were saying.
But
yes,
having read this,
way
I
to go.
actually get it. Like, I think he was,
because delays is
No,
expensive
it's
as
very-
well.
I mean,
so,
hello.
Yeah.
This is the most expensive
the-
film because of delays.
And he's a producer as well, so
Yes.
you can see he's also where he's coming
And also, what Tom Cruise did for the film industry,
Mm.
where he didn't allow Top Gun Maverick to be released online, he forced them to delay it and wait for it for like regulations and stuff to like calm down before
Yeah.
it came back into cinemas. A lot of people in the film industry have actually said that Tom Cruise saved the film industry by doing that, where he actually refused. And I mean, he even took, I think financially, he took on strain with that. But then because Top Gun Maverick did so well, I mean, it was a risk that he took, but it was worth
He
taking.
knew it was gonna do
Yeah,
well.
but he actually saved cinema. And I was watching an interview, and he was saying, people have waited at that time like 34 years for this film, so I reckon a couple more years won't
Exactly.
be that. Yeah, but
Absolutely.
yeah. So he does have an
I
eye.
mean, that would have just been disappointing, you know?
Yeah, it would have been
Yeah.
disappointing. But he even
Yeah.
said this film is made for the cinema, which I agree. Top Gun Maverick is one of those
Yeah,
films that, with
absolutely.
the sound and all of that, it's definitely
Yeah.
made for the
Yeah.
cinema. So last thing I want to say is the cast. Cast was very good. I enjoyed Hayley Atwell. She's obviously from Captain America. You recognized her, right?
Yep.
She's Captain America's, what's her name again? Captain Carter.
Oh, yes.
And then obviously Vanessa Kirby came back with her very odd White Widow, sorry. But I want to talk about Pom Clementif. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Do you know who that is? The crazy clown chick that was driving that big army vehicle. She still dies at the end. Do you know who she is, Ryan?
No,
You're not gonna believe it.
I couldn't put.
I only know because
Don't
I
recognize
know her face. She plays Mantis in Guardians of the Galaxies. How good of an actress
Wait,
is
what?
she? How freaking good of an actress
Is that
is
her?
she? That is her. That is her right there. Can you believe it? How different is she in this film? I have huge respect for her.
Like,
she's
at
a
this
good
point,
actress.
At this point, you take a photo, you add on the.
Yep. But also, I think also one of the reasons you wouldn't recognize her as
Wow.
Mantis is because she has a lot of makeup as well with Mantis.
Mantis.
But yeah, she plays Mantis.
Of course.
And how you would never have guessed it. Like I recognized her. That's how I knew it was her.
You know, she hardly smiled in this.
She
thing.
did it, and she.
But if she
hardly
had to
spoke as
smile,
well.
if she had to smile, because it brings her face up.
Yeah, it's true.
There you go. I probably would have been like, wait, what? Google Lens. Oh,
Yeah. No, she was brilliant. I really thought she was very,
Crazy
very
good.
good. Yeah.
that's brilliant.
And as much as I hated her in the beginning of the film, I by the end of the film I was like,
Yeah. and then she
man.
gets betrayed, and then you kind of feel sorry for her.
No, you do feel sorry for her.
You're like,
And I think also the fact that she maybe spoke in French also helped her disguise herself in a way.
yes,
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it was very good.
Very good.
I will obviously watch part 2. Ilsa's death killed me. I was so sad.
Yes.
But I went and watched Silo and I was happy after that.
Yeah.
And Dune part 2. Hopefully, make sure she dies in Dune part 2. That's hectic, man.
Eish.
Yeah. So that was Mission Impossible. Dead. I keep calling it Death Reckoning. It's Dead Reckoning. Dead Reckoning Part 1.
We'll just call it DR.
Dur. Yeah. So we got it in before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Good job, Brian.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll be back next week with something else.
There you go.
There we go. Won't be Barbie.
Hallelujah.
Peace.
Cheers.